So another person that has sat down with me countless times.
I used to be so cruel to myself, but that man saved my life. I became more than a body. I became a soul.
Is my sister Karla. Some people know her by Coach Karla or KG. I wanted to sit down with her because when I open my heart to somebody and they give that love back, I feel like my cup is being filled. And I get that from her. So, you ready? Okay, yeah.
In the house. Literally.
This is why we are gonna sit down today and talk about your journey as a as a woman, martial artist slash person that you've also dealt with self-image issues, discovering who you are, through MMA, and also technically gaining weight, because one of the struggles that you also faced was to gain weight over the course of the years. So do you want to share some of that?
Yeah.
Where it all started? So we can all get to know KG.
So since everything started obviously since I was a child and stuff. From a very young age, like since I have sense of, remembering anything, I remember always being really thin, very skinny, and in high school, like not even in high school, like elementary school, I was bullied and I was made fun of because I was skinny, to the point where people used to, paint images of me and say that I resemble chicken legs and stuff like that. Yeah, it was cruel, And then I remember in elementary school, I was maybe in 4th or 5th grade. There was one time I was, going up the stairs of the old school, and there was this boy. Looking back at it now, it's like he liked me, but at that age, boys don't know how to express their emotions towards girls or whatever,
especially when they like them.
Exactly. Yeah. So they said picking at girls, or it's just, so he would pick on me a lot, and he would say mean things at times, right? So there was one time I was a typical nerd, skinny ass little girl, skinny as hell, with a huge ass backpack, because I always wanted to carry all of my
looked
books.
like a net.
My God,
see that ass with the big old
dude. That was me. That was legit me, a skinny ass little stick, and just walking around with a big ass backpack. So obviously the backpack was heavier than me.
Yeah.
And I remember going up the stairs, and this boy pulled on my backpack, and I fell straight back. And at that time, we used to wear skirts and stuff. So I remember falling backwards, and obviously my tiny ass legs, and we're making fun of me in front of everyone because I had fallen, and obviously I was really skinny, so I was showing everything, and it was really traumatizing for a long time. So, I was always that little skinny ass kid, and then I do have a lot of features like my dad, so.
Okay, what do you mean you have features like my dad?
So everybody looked like, you look like your dad, you look like your dad. So, I was skinny and I looked kind of tomboyish, so people used to make fun of me for that too. And then I happened to, developed very, very late in life. So I was very skinny, and I remember my girlfriends, they used to start developing, their femininity and stuff. And I was just so skinny and brittle, and so it was really rough growing up like that. And then I remember moving to the US, and I started seeing all these models, and at that time I was like, oh, I want to be a model and stuff. And so I kind of started seeing that models were skinny, and maybe that's acceptable. I could be skinny and I could be a model. So I kind of started embracing the creativity of changing the way I looked, because I wanted to be like a model. And so that started kind of helping me embrace that I was thin. But I started also seeing models have boobs and they have butts, and I don't have that. So I used to remember like wanting to eat, and I used to do all these like booty exercises because I wanted to grow my ass, and like try to like do something like that. But to the point where, I had none of those attributes, and I felt like, man, I'm not feminine enough, and I remember started feeling like less of a woman because I didn't have this voluptuous, body that, kind of made a woman look like a woman, and I was like, fuck, so that was a really big struggle for me.
I remember going through something similar because I didn't have boobs. See, because it was like, okay, I had the butt, but then I felt like I was too big, so I was like, damn, now I have the boobs, so I'm not a woman.
Right.
That's the thing.
Gosh. It's so real, like, and then again, all these things, like, I feel it comes from what you watch, the society, and like, I used to remember like watching these shows and like seeing women of different cultures, and I used to think, man, like, how come I don't have that, and so you do start questioning yourself, based on other people's images, and it can mess with your head, and I really never like talked to anybody about that, it was just one of those things that I kind of just internalized, and I started like painting myself and like in somebody else's mirror, and then that's where the whole like over makeup started happening because I wanted to look a certain way.
When did that start? Like this whole process of you changing like that with your makeup or like overdressing?
So that started later, like maybe I was like around 18 or 19.
Because you said that you looked like my dad, so you were more tomboyish.
I was.
So you went from a tomboy to like a super girly girl.
Yeah, that's when I moved to the US. So I was in Mexico, was a little more of a tomboy, I didn't wear a lot of girly clothes. Like I will wear it sometimes, but I wouldn't feel too comfortable because girly clothes will be like tight jeans or skirts or dresses, and I was always scared. Like I was always shy of my legs because I was always really skinny, and my arms, and it just felt weird. So I never wanted to wear anything that showed my skin because I felt uncomfortable. But then when I moved to the US, that's when I started seeing like models and like, oh, they're really skinny and they're acceptable. So maybe I could do something like that, But I had already been like internalizing like me being so skinny. So, not to make the story super long, I started gaining weight. I started eating a lot. I started eating so much of that new American culture, like, or the American, style of eating diet, and I started gaining skinny fat weight.
Oh, was that like the belly weight?
Yeah, it was like that like flabby weight, what I mean? Like I wasn't getting big legs, so I wasn't like, getting like bigger arms or bigger breasts or biggest like, bigger butt or anything like that. Like my body was not designed like that. And it took me forever to understand that. Like I did not love myself, and because I was so, like again, I internalized being skinny was a bad thing. I started eating a lot to try to gain some weight and with all these exercises, and obviously it wasn't happening for me. Like my body was not responding well to it. I just physically think like my genes are not meant to be like that big. I can exercise and I can eat now that I'm more of an adult and matured and I understand my body better, but at that time I didn't know that. I didn't know any better. So, again, moving on to now I'm here in America and stuff, and I started like creating this image of, oh, well, I want to be like this, so I need to wear this makeup, or I need to look this way, I need to dress this way, I need to act this way.
Yeah.
And so I started to develop this like false sense of image. Like I wanted to live like somebody else because I was not happy with who I was, because for the longest time I was not accepted like that, So that's when the whole makeup thing started happening. That's when I started wearing different clothes and I started acting a certain way until I reached a breaking point where I was depressed, I was, sad, I was unhappy, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, and I felt like I was living a double life. And
that was the age that you were 18?
Yeah, like around 18, 19, around that age, yeah.
So what did you do?
Well, again, at that time I was like, okay, kind of dealing with all this conflict, I said, okay, I'm getting all this like fat weight that I don't like. I don't feel happy. I couldn't sleep anymore. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start exercising. And that's when my interest kind of started, So I was dancing a lot back then. I was going out to nightclubs and all these different things. And so that always made me feel good. Like being active always made me feel good. But at the time I wasn't rationalize it that movement for me was what was making me feel happy. I started like little by little, according to me back then, exercising, and I would like dance in front of the TV and I would do my belly dancing, and I would just try to
I remember those belly dancing days.
Right?
We used to put the little beads, remember?
Yeah.
I
went to be Shakira.
Yeah.
That was those were my artistic days where I went to be Shakira.
Yeah.
But so little by little, like I started doing things like that, and then I tried picking up running too, and I just never like fell in love with running outside. It just wasn't something for me, But anyway, so that's how I kind of continued little by little, try to exercise. What I did do for a while that I just haven't really picked up anymore was ice skating and rollerblading.
Yeah.
And that was like really fun for me. So I was like, oh, so this is fun. So I did that for summer, like one full year in summer. I did that, and then I picked up bike riding, and so I did that for another year. So that was really good, and I started feeling like happy with what I was doing, but I wasn't consistent enough. It wasn't just this is my routine, I'm gonna do it every single day or every other day. Like I wasn't disciplined enough to do that. I knew
was this all because like you were trying to find out like who you were in the process, or like what you enjoyed?
So
or was this all influenced?
That was influenced definitely from the people that I knew back then, because they like the bike riding. That was something that people that I knew back then were doing. So I was like, oh, let me try that, and I really liked it. And so I was doing that on my own. When I was through college, I was doing that on my own. But that fundamental point for me was when I hit that breaking point of not feeling like myself anymore. I felt like I wasn't happy with myself anymore. And I felt like I was not living a purposeful life, in a life that I was proud of, because
even though you were doing all these activities.
Yeah, well,
really,
the living like that was kind of led me to want to do these little changes here and then, but I still wasn't 100% over it, so it was just, I was tired of something. I just couldn't pinpoint exactly like at that time, okay, this is strong enough for me to like make it a lifestyle. It was me like I wasn't happy, so let me try all these different random things to see what makes me happy.
So how did you, so moving forward, like, was that around the time that you started MMA, or how did that get to that?
From age 18, 19, 22, because I started MMA when I was 23 going in 24.
Okay. So between 18 and 24.
Right.
That's where you were still like going through stuff.
Correct. I was just kind of going up and down. My emotions were all over the place, trying to find myself, and it wasn't happening. And again, I wasn't disciplined enough, so I wasn't sticking to anything long enough to really make that a lifestyle for me, right? So it's just trying different things. So then I hit rock bottom. Well, I was really not happy anymore. Like I just, that process, like, sometimes when you go through life and you're going through different things, you're not going to hit rock bottom right away. I think your life, your body, your mind starts giving you signals.
Yeah.
Kind of warning signs of like, hey, something's not right with you. We have to address it. But
what kind of signs were you getting at the time?
First of all, like I was always ashamed of myself. Like I was always scared of showing my skin. So that was one.
Right.
Another one was I was overeating. I was stress eating. So I was gaining fat weight because I was trying to gain weight fast, but I wasn't going to the right places. So I just felt like fat and ugly, and I wasn't fat and ugly. I was just skinny and weirdly fat at the same time. It was really weird. Like I just, man, And then the other thing, I was not having healthy relationships, because again, like myself, I wasn't like in a good place mentally. So I was attracting things that were not healthy for me, and so all of these things are early signs of you going in a path that is not good for you. But I was young, like immature, and I didn't have the proper guidance to push me out in a different direction. So all these things that I went through, finally, accumulated. I never spoke about it. Boop! It just brought me down to the bottom.
Damn.
And that's when I felt like I don't know what to do. I felt lost. I felt just really, 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 really depressed. And I really felt like I was just done. I was just done with life. I didn't know what to do. I was giving up, But something in me didn't let me do that. And I am a religious woman. I believe in God, and God has done many different things for me. And I knew that what I was going right there and then, even though I was feeling so sick and tired of everything, there was something in me that didn't want to give up. And that is when I made the decision to call the MMA gym. Now, that story happened because I met this woman at the job that I used to work back then. And she talked about these different things. I was like, I wonder what that is, right? She talked about kickboxing. I was like, I wonder what that is. So I looked it up on YouTube, and I was like, that is kickboxing? And I thought in my head, this is like barbaric. I am. I don't feel like.
So what we're doing now is barbaric back when you were.
Absolutely. I was like, man, punching people in the faces. I was like, that's crazy, you know? Especially when you grew up in a family where, like, you know, violence is not good. Like, you know, you hit somebody, that's not good. You get punished for it, you know? Yeah. So obviously that was like different, but something in me triggered when I looked at this thing. So I was like, I wonder what that is, right? And so I started thinking about back in the day when I remember one of my siblings did karate when you know, at an early age and stuff. So I was like, oh, you know, so something kind of just told me call. And that day, call somewhere, call something, do something, right? So that day specifically, as soon as I got out of work, I looked at places like, you know, I did kickboxing in Chicago and stuff, and I found 3 gyms. And then I called all 3. 2 of them went to voicemail. I left a voicemail. 1 of them went to voicemail too and called me right away. And that was Anthony from Victory, you know?
Right. So, I think some people know Anthony if they listen to Tasno's podcast.
Oh yeah, Tasno's podcast. Yeah. Like he talks a little bit about him. So anyway, he calls me back, and then, you know, that's when I booked my appointment and stuff. And I go into the gym, and you know, Sean is my first instructor. And I just, when I tell you, I had never had that level of peaceful sleep, you know, before that, until that day that I had the class. Like, when I took the class and I went home and I slept, that was the first time that I slept and I rested.
Really? Why do you think that was?
Girl, because I was going through a lot of emotional trauma. Like, I was going through a lot of different things. Like, you know, it's just a whole story and just a lot of different things that happened in my life that led me to the point of like a breaking point. I wasn't sleeping anymore. I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't resting anymore. So all the different things accumulated. So when I went to the gym and I had the workout with Sean and I got to talk to him and stuff, right there and then when I was sitting on that table, and then he's like, you know, how did you like the class? I looked at him in the eyes, and then I said, I really loved it. And he's like, do you want to sign up? Right there and then. Pause. A whole, like, what it was for me, like, for forever, to him it was like, yeah, right away. But for me, I knew right there and then that I wanted to change, and I was ready for change. Because I said to myself right there, if I don't sign up right now, I'm not going to do it. And that's when I did it. I signed up and I told them I'm going to do it. Because now I have made that commitment to myself that I am paying for something now, so I'm gonna have to do it.
And all the things were free.
Exactly. Kind of, right? So I was like, okay, I'm working to something where it's like I was so tired of everything, so I was like, I need to make a change. And that for me, that was the first step into making change. Now, was that easy? No. Was I consistent at the beginning? No. You know, did I like the discipline? No. You know, did I like being called out of my bullshit? No. Did I like when my ego broke? No.
So that process of you growing, because when people call you out on stuff that you do and it's uncomfortable, you don't like it, was Sean or was the gym that environment that helped you get through that?
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%. Like, you know, hopefully our viewers, you know, have listened to Taz's podcast and stuff, but that man saved my life.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that God sometimes, you know, when we continue to live a life and God is like sending you signs and signals like, hey, change your lifestyle, change your lifestyle, change your lifestyle. And you refuse and you refuse and you refuse and you keep going through the same dark circles over and over again. Eventually God is I feel like God is going to help us. Like, okay, this is a lifestyle you want to live. I'm going to help you get there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that's when I feel in my life that breaking point happened. So when God sent me the gym, sent me Sean into my life, I see it as a blessing. And I see Sean is a person who, it was like an angel in my life, because he pulled me out of that bad environment and that bad habit, you know, that I used to have of just continuing to hurt myself in different ways. And, you know, for my traumas of always having that self-image issues, you know, led to more things and more things and more things. It was just like a vicious cycle. When I made the decision that I want to change, God, sent me the person that was going to help me. But I needed to make that decision. I said to myself, I don't like the way I'm living. I am tired. I need to do something about it. And that's when God said, I got you. And that's when I feel truly in my heart that Sean was the person who saved my life. Now, my life is God, you know, and so he obviously knows what I'm going to go through, but I feel like he gave me the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to give you the person that is going to help you and is going to guide you so you can be out of this hole because you want to do it now. It wasn't easy though, but that's what I feel in my heart happened. So, you know, yeah, the gym helped me a lot, but it was the friendship that Sean provided that he gave me that I truly feel was the turning point for my life. So forever, I would always be thankful for him that he's in my life and to help me out, you know. And obviously from there, just the things that I have gained since I started, you know, MMA, the things that I have, the way my life changed since I said I don't want this anymore and I am willing to give up, all the things that were making me feel shitty, that's when things started changing. And I always said it, and I think you and I have talked in the past where I don't feel like I could ever like leave what I have now because I have gained a lot more than what I lost. You know, so my life has turned drastically for the better since Sean and the gym came into my life. And so for that, I'm forever grateful. You know, so the self-image that I had before, I feel like I got over it because I feel happy with who I am.
You're beautiful.
I am, thank you. You know, yes, I am thin, you know, and I'm working, you know, every day. I lift weights, you know, and I try to stick to my routine and stuff like that. Yeah. But my life, and I understood that my life is not just my physical being. Mm-hmm. You know, my body, I need to stay healthy because I want to give, you know, my knowledge and provide and help people as much as I can for the rest, for however God wants me to live in this earth, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I went from wanting to have a big butt and big boobs to now appreciating what I have and the fact that I am healthy. I'm a healthy, you know, woman who gets to do what she loves every freaking day. Who can say that and be proud of that and live it? I am blessed. So yeah, how I look right now is not my main priority. I need to be a part so I can do my job the best efficient way. But having big butts and big boobs, like that's not my priority. It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And I am blessed for that. You know, so those traumas of me being a child and seeing that little skinny girl that was before, sure, it sucked. But for me, that's not me anymore. And that's when sometimes I chuckled, you know, when I look at myself in certain ways, and it's like, I used to be so cruel to myself. I used to hurt myself so much because of what people used to say to me. But no one has ever really sat down with me and said, hey, or not, you know, back then, had said, you're beautiful. Your body doesn't represent who you are. I never had that. But now I have people like you, I have people like him, and I have people at the gym who they don't care how I look. Mm-hmm. They care of who I am. I became more than a body. I became a soul. And to me, that is far way more important to me now than ever was before. So